Good Wednesday morning. Glad I got a chance to spend a little bit of time with you. I hope these devotions have been an encouragement to you and have helped you along the way. Every day I think about what I want to do for a devotion for the next day. And in this, I thought about this. We all have our favorite Bible verse, or we have a life verse that we, for our life, or just a special verse in the Bible. But I got a question. What verse or what passage in the Bible has taught you the most? Not what is your favorite verse. Maybe your favorite verse is also the verse that has taught you the most. You know, there's so many great chapters, Romans 8 and Romans chapter 12 and 1 Corinthians 15 and Psalms 23, Psalms 1, Genesis chapter 1, chapter 2, John chapter 3, that we think of John 3:16, for God so loved the world. And all of those passages, they teach so many different things. Yet there's usually one passage, maybe it's the time that what we're going through and the time we're living in, that this verse just speaks to you right then. It really just resonated with you. I've had one passage that has always resonated with me, and it has to do with Job. You know, Job went through more than anybody else, more suffering, more pain, more heartache. Children were all killed in one day. He lost all of his wealth, stolen away from him. And then he lost his health and the misery that he was in. And he talked about his familiar friends turned their back on him and everybody quit showing him any respect. So he was at the bottom. And in Job chapter 19, I love that passage, 23 down through 26. This is the one that has resonated with me the most. And Job says in this, he says, regardless of the fact, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, though the skin worms destroy my body, I know my body's going to die. I know I'm going to die. And that my body's going to waste away. But he makes this statement, for I know my Redeemer lives. And then he goes on down and he says, I know I shall see him with mine own eyes. I'll behold him and I'll stand with him in the latter days. So everything Job went through, everything that he faced, and what he was in the middle of all of it, he says, I want this written down in the iron, with an iron pen in the rock forever. I want it etched into the rock so that my testimony stands. And people can read my testimony long after I'm gone. And his testimony was this: I know my Redeemer lives. And he's going to give me a new body. I'm on new eyes. I'm going to see him for myself. What a testimony. And that has always resonated with me, that regardless of what I go through, regardless of what I face, and one day I will die. We all do. One day I'll go through and face death, but I won't face it alone, because my Redeemer lives. And I'll see him with my own eyes. I love that old hymn, face to face I shall behold him. Isn't that a wonderful passage? That is the one passage that for decades in my life, since I was a teenager until now, has always spoke the most to me. But what is that passage that you have that has really spoken to your heart, that has really just resonated with your soul, that has taught you so much? I wonder what that passage is. Well, isn't it a wonderful promise? Isn't God's word wonderful? That how it just speaks to a heart when we really need to hear that encouragement. God's word encourages us. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Hope you have a great weekend. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow.